but the captain's at a party. Pretoria answer the call, like it gone to sleep, Adam Gardner stand tall. In the harbor of Durban, the seal ships ride. The ANC plays a game of seek and hide. They call for the exercise in like the east wind, and point the paging and say they're the ones who sin. Turban was on the list, I guess at the gate. Now they say who invited them, it must have been fake. Confusion in the Union building, shadows on the wall. Now the truth gets buried in the marble hall. Who is running the land? Tell me, who's in command? Is it the suit in the office or the gun in hand? Oh, that from the Congo mud to the Pretoria street, the drums of the rock start to skip a beat. No books for the boys, no armor for the chest, but millions for the dollar. The boat take a rest, and she speaks of an inquiry, a code to be won. But the days turn to weeks, and the paper is torn. No answers coming down as the heavy silence, while the heroes in the bush face no rebel violence. Sent to the jungle with no wings in the sky, only 3 helicopters, how can they fly? No medevac coming when they let us to rain. Chased by the rebels, oh the pride and the pain. No uniform, no boot, no boots, oh wait, look at the budget for the big salute. P7, 2 million for retirement spree. Modern Navy is sinking beneath the sea. Not a submarine moving, not a sailor in sight, but the body lights are burning to the Pretoria night. The chief of defense, he's a law to himself. The commander of the Navy puts the stay on the self, defying the colonial, ignoring the sir, while the ghost of the fly start to wake and to stir. And what's this whisper? What's this dark news? The chairman tried with murder, and he's the one they choose. Promoted to the side, for the dockets go forward. Is this the new story that's being told? Who is running the land? Tell me, who's in command? Is it Siren? Is it Langy? Cause Ronnie understand. Oh, from the Crown Hopper to the Pretoria street, the drums of the ropes are to skip a beat. No boost for the boys, no armor for the chest, but millions for the tenor on the moat in the rest. The generals are dancing, the politicians are glancing. The money is vanishing, and the soldiers are wandering. Who's the boss? Siren. Who's the boss? And King. The military's gone rogue in the sun. The parade has only just begun.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
July 5th, 2026. Welcome back to the program, folks. Chris live in central Pennsylvania for your daily dose, your daily injection, your daily indoctrination. No, that sounds like the leftist. No, your daily protection against disinformation, misinformation, propaganda, hysteria, slanders, defamers, and hate wankers around the world. Welcome back to the program on the 5th of July around the world. So on this 5th of July, I thought it'd be time. I didn't want to do this because it seemed like self-promotion during the build up to the 4th of July. But now that the 4th of July is over, it's time to share something with you deeply personal for me. You see, my ancestors arrived on this continent in 1621. The first one, the last one, arrived in 1848. We've been here, we're the OGs. Unlike most white Americans, my ancestors were here long ago. So let me just talk about that. And this is a book full of many important documents, the U.S. Constitution and other writings. And I'm going to turn now to the Declaration of Independence. And I'm going to read a portion of this for a very specific reason, and it's deeply personal, and I'll explain it to you afterwards. Then we'll get to the news. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. In other words, we've made it clear that we must make it public why we have umbrage with Great Britain and why we're breaking our political bands to our colonizer. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Ben Franklin wrote that portion of it. That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. I'll stop it there. 58 signers of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. I'll jump forward. Massachusetts, of course, John Hancock was the first to sign. He's the only one actually signed it on the 4th of July, and he wrote it with a flourish. His name has become synonymous with the American liberation. But we have all the colonies, which became states: Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Hampshire, Connecticut, South Carolina, Rhode Island, Georgia, and North Carolina. And right here, ladies and gentlemen, under Connecticut, there are 4 names listed under Connecticut right there. You will see the last one right there, Oliver Wolcott. Oliver Wolcott. Why am I mentioning Oliver Wolcott? Well, not just because he's a historical figure, but because we're related. I am related to a signer of the Declaration of Independence, proven by DNA, by the way, in case you're curious. So let's take a look at who Oliver Wolcott was. My 4th cousin, 8 times removed. Oliver Wolcott, through the Brewster family. 8 times removed. Oliver Wolcott, a signer of the Declaration of Independence, one of my ancestors. I have ancestors that fought in the war against the Powhatan Indians in 1621 in Virginia, in the French and Indian conflict, in the American Revolution, in the War of 1812, in the Civil War, in the Spanish-American War, in the First World War, in the Second World War, all the way down to myself, who fought in 5 campaigns. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. It's a deeply personal thing for me, and I didn't want to do it during the 4th. Now that the 4th is over, I just wanted to share that. So there you have it. Foreign entities are stoking unrest in South Africa. Shades of Bell Pottinger. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Hey, Pat Meister, you think that makes me royalty? Hang around to the end of the broadcast when I'll run through, DNA-wise, a list of famous people who are my ancestors or cousins. Here's a hint. George Washington is one of them. Yes, that's right. We're going to run through that a little bit later. Mamaloko Kubaye implies that Israel is behind the anti-immigrant March and March protest. The ANC, when you can't accomplish, you just blame others for it. 2 years after the ICJ case, suddenly Israel, which is the midst of a war with Iran and with Hezbollah and with Hamas, has time to run a Bell Pottinger campaign. Mamaloko Kubaye. Sweetheart, this one's for you.
Stupid people.
Oh, yes, they should.
Neon bright so we can find a way to dodge their tangle.
Israel is behind
Avoid their chaos.
Jacinta Nkubisi Zuma.
Say less.
Wear a sign, wear a sign. Ooh, dumbass ANC.
From your twisted line.
No evidence, of course.
Wear a sign, wear a
Simply
sign.
speculation by an ANC operative.
Nada, nada, don't waste your time.
False claims, attacking Jews. That's what the ANC loves to do.
Politicians dance and
Even though Jews wrote the Freedom Charter.
blatant lies with a practiced grin. Blame the moon, blame the stars, blame the traffic or faulty.
Don't forget to blame Jan van Riebeck or
You
apartheid.
think they're sick.
Here's your sign, sweetheart. Mama Loco Kubai.
Save me from your twisted lie.
It's Donald Trump's fault.
Where is
No, it's Jan's fault. Oh, it's apartheid's fault. It's not our fault. As Shaggy said, it wasn't me.
Lost my yard, it's so small. It's hard being rich, don't you see?
You're living in your fantasy. Sorry? Oh. Seriously? Do they have evidence of it? They do. Okay, I'll announce it right now. All right, thanks. You've confirmed it. 2 sources. Oh, they're both A and C sources. Well, I'll announce it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news out of South Africa. This message from Lutuli House on Sunday. I didn't even know they worked on Sunday. Lutuli House has announced that South Africa's anemic economic growth is a consequence of 7,000 car guards fleeing to America. 7,000 car guards in America have caused South Africa's economy to collapse with just 0.5% GDP growth. This breaking news coming from the Lutuli House. It's clear, it's obvious that the reason South Africa is in the crapper now is 7,000 car guards have come to America. What a tragedy. The country can't function without those 7,000 car guards. We're going to go now live to talk to Fikile Mabalula. Except that he won't answer the phone to explicitly say how those 7,000 car guards caused the collapse of 18 smelters. It caused the collapse of all the manganese smelters. An American aluminum company had to rush in and save South Africa's aluminum smelter in KZN. How those 7,000 car guards were responsible for all the potholes, the 78th worst performing ports in the world, the massive corruption. I'm sure the car guards were behind Armsgate, Travelgate, Nkandla, Oilgate, and, PPE scandals, and Zendeli Gumeda, and Digital Vibes, and the Vreda Dairy Farm scandal, and the asbestos tender, and all the other stuff, the failure of all the municipalities in Northwest Province, the failure of the judicial system, 82 murders per day, 7,000 car guards responsible for all of that. All of that. Shame on you, car guards. You car guards in America, shame on you all. You came here. And look what you did. Look what you did, folks. You undermined South Africa. You absolutely did. You ruined it. You ruined it for everybody. You selfish car guards coming to America. I'm telling you, it's just not right that you did this. It's terrible, 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 terrible. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. All of you car guards coming to America, because look what's happened here, folks. Look what's happened here. South Africa's collapsing now because of the car guards. All the car guards in America, shame on you. Car guards in the USA! Oh yeah, man.
From Jersey to Jersey, Pretoria to Tennessee, back up the bucky, man. The car guards arrive.
Ba-da-da-da-da. Brr-pa! Brr-pa! Car guards.
They cross the ocean with a suitcase dream, escaping blackout nights and a failing scheme. Touchdown wide-eyed under neon glow. The lights stay on all night long. From Cape Town flats to the Midwest snow. Learning fast where the cold winds blow. No more generators rattling in the dark. Now every street light shining in the park. Strong percussion rolling like the train of fate. New great trek through the departure gate. Mock them back across the sea, but now they live in
Lodge in Tennessee.
Fike laugh and point the finger. Just car guard, she say with vigor. Simple people, no big degree, but the hustle talk louder than pedigree. Car
guards in the USA,
working hard every night and day. From the bright fire to the interstate, building new dreams
in another state. Guards in the USA.
One section make the whole world sway. Skip to right past
the FEMA line.
Now they sipping sweet tea,
feeling fine. Pa.
They said FEMA tents would be the scene, rows of canvas on the TV screen. But them stories fade when the truth arrive. South Africans out there thriving alive. Apartments first, then houses neat. Pick up trucks parked down the street. Kids in school and bills all paid. Fresh new roots begin to get laid. More mices dancing at the cookout flame, trying hard to pronounce Chick-fil-A names. Robots now are traffic lights, not little gadgets blinking at night. Bright smoke drifting through the air. Neighbors asking
What you cooking there?
Biltong words and reggae beat. Bassline rolling down the street. Backies become pickup trucks. Still complaining about bad road luck. But compared to potholes back in Josie Town, the smooth highway never let them down.
God's in the USA.
Turning struggle into better days. Laughing loud while the critics moan. Making foreign places feel like home.
God's in the USA.
ANC
Tax base fade away.
Every worker that the party show leaves another crack in the old front door. Doctors, welders, coders too. Farmers learning something new. Not everybody drove the tractor line, despite what papers try to find. Some clean cars and guarded malls. Some answered business office calls. But every one of them came to survive. And now they're watching dreams arrive.
It's in the USA.
Rhythm of the new great
Track today.
from the Vale to
To
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Still got more rhythm in the heart. Yeah.
God's in the USA.
Hear the brass band proudly play. They said the migrants wouldn't last. Now the car guards getting the last laugh. Funny thing about survival, boss. Never underestimate the people who know how to hustle.
Pa! Says Juju. Pa! Those car guards in the USA responsible for the complete collapse of South Africa. Tragedy, 7,000 people have left South Africa to come to the United States. Never mind the 2.3 million South Africans who are already living abroad with all their capital, their resources, and all their knowledge. Shame. Apparently, it's the foreigners. That's who's behind March in March. It's Israel, ladies and gentlemen. Evil, evil Israel behind March in March. Who knew? Once again, this person with all the credibility in the world, this would be Mamaloko Kubaye, says the Jewish state's goal is to have the genocide case brought against it struck from the roll. So they're fomenting dissent in South Africa. How exactly does chaos in South Africa translate to the ICJ dismissing the case? I mean, you can't buy this kind of stupidity. How exactly does that translate? I mean, look, okay, they want to undermine South Africa. What, are you just saying they're being vindictive? But she claims it's an effort to get them struck from the roll. How in the world does people marching, the few thousand, by the way, I keep reading about how these were big turnouts. They weren't. There were more Malawians at the border fleeing than there were people participating in the march the entire country nationwide. We look at 70 people, 100 people, 200 people, 3,000, 4,000 maybe in Durban at the biggest one. Oh, big my bum. It was nothing. But they're threatening. By the way, Thursday's coming. It's Sunday now. Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's see how many people show up for the nationwide protest against the criminal alien invaders. Let's see what Jacinta Nkabisi Zuma can accomplish on Thursday. Well, Tony Leon says I could draft some questions. Former DA leader Tony Leon has defended an employee at Resolve for offering to draft parliamentary questions for DA MP. In a combative interview with News 24, Leon lashed out at John Steenhuisen for trying to pour some shade on his... Okay, first off, I encourage you to watch it, even though News 24 doesn't deserve your viewership. Tony Leon did not lash out. John Steenhuisen lashed out. Tony Leon didn't lash out. He simply asked questions. And then Adrian Basson starts pulling out all this crap that wasn't even part of the interview. So Basson says, no, you can't go there. We didn't agree to that. We're here to talk about Resolve Communications. And then 5 minutes later, he starts pulling papers out. What about this in Joburg? That's nothing to do with resolve communications. What are you talking about? Nothing with top in hand. This guy here, Adrian Basson, the propagandist in chief at the tabloid of record, News 24, says that, well, what about these allegations you've committed crimes with your lobbying? Then 10 minutes later, he says, well, of course, lobbying this is not illegal in South Africa. What? Here's your sign, Adrian. Here's your sign. Ooh, it must be nice to live in a 60 million rand mansion. 60 million rand. Ladies and gentlemen, last time I checked, that's at least over $3.5 million. Wow. Look at this starving ANC caterer here. Imogen Mashazi lived in a palatial mansion owned by Edwin Sodi. That's a familiar name. Erstwhile Ekurhuleni city manager Imogen Mahashi lived in a 60 million waterfall equestrian estate mansion. She has a penchant for the extravagant, and News 24 first exposed her 3.5 million private jet flight bankrolled by businessman Zay Noxmalo. Who is she hanging out with that she has all these favors she's getting? Under investigation, born of testimony before the Michelin Commission, was mum about how she funds her lavish lifestyle. The controversial city administrator. She's a city administrator, not even like a provincial, governor or freaking member of parliament. She's a city administrator. Wow. She managed a 50 billion rand budget, but she lives in a 60 million rand home. 30 kilometers from her former seat of power and is well outside the boundaries of the metro she managed. She's a penchant for the extravagant. In 2022, enjoyed a 3.5 million private jet charter for the weekend of shopping in London, bankrolled by Playboy businessman influence peddler Zay Noxmalo. When questions were raised over her opulent standard of living, Mahazi was hanging her hat in an ultra-luxury home she didn't even own. One of 3 independent real estate experts said could fetch a monthly rental of up to 200,000 rand per month. She was forced out of her post in 2025 after political shakeup. But why isn't she in prison? This exceptional 6-bedroom ultra-luxury mansion is located within prestigious and secure equestrian estate, offering unrivaled lifestyle defined by privacy, architectural excellence, and resort-style living. And you know what's the worst part about this? This scumbag earned nothing. Scumbag earned nothing. And look what she's living in while people are starving in South Africa. Oh, yes. Oh, they care about poor black South Africans. They sure as hell don't. Yeah, lifestyle audits. These people should. This is what happens. This is what happens when so-called liberation movements who didn't liberate any country are put in charge. This is what happens. Transnet fuel pipeline project has soared to 28 billion. Well, that's not right. The program is not over. There you go. The Transnet fuel pipeline project costs have soared to 28 billion rand. The project is now 16 years behind schedule as regulator moves to shield consumers from steep tariff hikes. So it's 16 years. It sounds like a Kusili power plant. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, you cannot make it up. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. All right, what's going on in the chat over here? What's going on in the chat? Where are the moderators at? Okay, they took care of it. Malcolm Green. Are you just a dipshit? Are you a dipshit? Is that who you are? I'm a historian, political scientist, and Africanist. I cover Africa. I'm also an American historian. And if you take your finger off your pud and watch a program for 5 minutes, you'll see that I criticize America. Hang around, dumbass. The program goes like this. South Africa is important, so we do South Africa first. But your feelings are hurt. Malcolm. Poor little thing. Poor little Malcolm. Malcolm. Is that even your real name? Malcolm. Did nobody love you? Did nobody hug you, Malcolm? Does nobody love you? Did nobody hug you? Did mommy not breastfeed you? Is that why you're so rude? Did mommy not breastfeed you? Oh. Okay, folks, don't be mean to Malcolm. It's been tough. He's had a hard life. He doesn't have critical thinking skills. Yeah, let me go get some I'll be right back. Let me get you some tissues, Malcolm. Let me apologize, Malcolm. These are not Kleenex. These tissues are they're just generic. They're from Giant Supermarket. So they're a little rough. But I mean, I use them. So Malcolm, so they're not soft Kleenex tissues, but they're not, they don't scratch your cornea. So they're okay. Would you like these, Malcolm? You're done with what rock? Yeah. So once again, why don't I criticize my own country? Have you ever watched the program, Malcolm? Even though you have a membership there, have you ever watched the program? Of course, I criticize my country. No, it's single ply. It's single ply. It's single ply. All right. Can we get back to the news now? Okay. Yeah. There you go. And Malcolm, I'll criticize whomever I choose to. You see, I'm an adult. An educated adult with multiple degrees, which means nothing other than I have the discipline to sit down and complete requirements. So who's behind March in March? Ooh, an op-ed published under the op-ed section at News 24. Got to give him credit. Whoever's by March in March, they're giving me Bell Pottinger vibes by Fred Kamalo. With the embers of public violence having been doused after June 30th anti-immigrant march, it's perhaps time to reflect on leadership and possible future trajectory of this organization called March in March. While it styles itself as a mass organized-based organization that reflects South African public sentiments on issues of border control and illegal immigration, March in March seems to have deep pockets and a louder share of voice than a simple community organization. Interesting op-ed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a Mel and Pete update. That's right. Mel and Pete Wednesday. Pete will seek bail. The Villon's under fire. Mel pledges cooperation as Pete prepares bail bid on 400 charges. Former celebrity lawyer Pete Fillon will this week fight for his freedom when he launches a formal bail application. His wife, Melanie, gave an undertaking that she will give her full cooperation in current investigations relating to the pair. Private investigator Mike Bolhuis said in a statement that Mel had recently contacted his company, Specialized Security Services. During his initial communication, Ms. Fillon expressed sincere remorse for her past conduct and indicated her willingness to present herself to Specialized Security Services with express intention of cooperating with all active investigations. But she didn't go to SAPS. She's going to a private security firm. No, Pete's not a flight risk. He has no passport. So unless he walks across the river at the Limpopo at low tide, he's not going to get very far. SAP says viral video of alleged attack on the Namibian truck driver was fabricated. It isn't real. Apparently a video had been circulating and it wasn't real. The police in Mpumalanga have dismissed a viral video claiming the Namibian truck driver was assaulted during a recent national protest, describing the footage as fabricated and warning that it's being used to spread misinformation. SAPS in Mpumalanga is noted with concern fabricated videos circulating on social media and on some media platforms, which falsely claim the Namibian national truck driver was assaulted by a South African in Mpumalanga during the recent national protest. I'll have to plead ignorance. Never seen the video, never showed it. Don't even know what it's about. Well, the Springboks started like a house on fire, and then suddenly someone tinkled all over the parade and doused the flames. From the 20-minute mark until 44 minutes, as we got into the second half, the Springboks disappeared. But then they came back with a vengeance in a game defeating England 45-21 at Ellis Park. The Bucks have shrugged off a late Khaleesi and Etzebeth exodus to lay serious nations champs marker. Yep. A depth stress test that was imposed on the Springboks through late withdrawals was passed with flying colors as they powered their way to a 41-25 victory over England yesterday in the nation's championship opener at Ellis Park. The Bucks lost Eben Etzebeth and Sia Khaleesi, which was 246 test matches between the pair. But that was shrugged off with a gutsy display, which didn't just shrug off the ghost of last year's 38-22 loss to Australia, where they had a 22-0 lead in 19 minutes, but provided some answers regarding the excellence of their wider depth players. Rossi's investment in depth is paying off, says Simonique Cabanisi. For the last 2 years, Springbok's been crowing about the incredible depth at Springbok. But of course, you can only play 15 players at a time, and only 23 can suit up. He's got 50 players in his camp. But it paid off yesterday. But we have injury concerns now. Oxenche injured his knee, and Andre Esthuizen got a concussion. That's not good. Springbok coach Rossi Rasmus may have been happy with the 45-21 win over England, but the casualty list is creeping up on him. Springboks were without Sia Khaleesi and Eben Etzebeth. Rasmus was pleased that they were able to banish the demons of the 38-22 victory last year, and they won this game. Yeah, I don't know that video, Charmaine. I never saw it, and I don't try to avoid things except during, unfolding events that I can't prove the provenance of. Well, we all scratched our head at the end of the game when SuperSport and Rugby Pass TV showed Damien de Allende as the man of the match. We're all a little confused. We were all very confused because the star of this game was clearly Damien Willemse. My audience picked Cheslin Colby, which was interesting, but I picked Damien Willemse. The man was sublime. He was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But they interviewed Damien de Allende. Dumbasses. The man of the match wasn't David de Allende. It was David Willemse. We can't even get the man of the match right in South Africa. The man of the match was David Willemse, not David de Allende. David de Allende is like, oh, guys, okay, whatever, you want to talk to me. It's not me. David de Allende had an average game, guys. Oh, my goodness. What the heck? I mean, that's just unreal, ladies and gentlemen. That's just unreal. Mali's army. Malcolm, are you still here? Here? Malcolm, you need another tissue. Here you go. Malcolm, this is the part of the program, 33 minutes in, where we switch from South Africa, and now I'm going to talk about Mali. Will you defend Mali's honor the way you defended South Africa's? I'm just curious. Please, can you tell me? I'm happy. Malcolm, are you still there? We didn't block Malcolm. We just gave him a timeout, right? Mali's army says rebels launched new attacks on towns and cities. Tuareg-led army groups say they attacked northern town where Malian troops and Russian fighters are based. There's a damaged Russian helicopter. Oof. Stripped of things. Armed men have launched attacks in 5 locations across Mali, the army says, more than 2 months after gunmen attacked the capital and other parts of the country. The attacks took place Saturday in areas including a northern town where government forces and Russian fighters are based, and a town south of Bamako. Well, that military coup is going so well for Malians, isn't it? Not at all. Canada bounces out of the World Cup with Morocco with a convincing 3-0 victory over the Canadians. Morocco's Issa Diop challenged by Canada's Tani Oluwaseya. What's this, West Africa? Neither one of them. He's not Moroccan and he's not Canadian. I suppose they are. Canada will not advance. It was 0-0 first half, but then the second half, Morocco opened things up. Now there's a Moroccan. Souflane Ralami. That's a Moroccan there. At least 15 Yemeni government troops killed in fighting. The Yemeni minister says more than 50 Houthi fighters were killed in the clashes. Look at them firing arbitrarily there. Okay. Yemeni officials said 15 government troops have been killed in clashes with Houthi rebels in western Yemen's Hodeidah governorate. More than 50 Houthi fighters were killed in this fighting, and dozens of others were wounded. There's no immediate comment from the Houthis on the alleged clashes. They've had nothing to say. Mourners are chanting revenge at the funeral for Iran's slain supreme leader. On the second day of public mourning for the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, killed in February, there's no sign of his son and successor, Mojtaba Khamenei. Tens of thousands of mourners, including senior Iranian officials, packed Tehran on Sunday for funeral prayers for the slain supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Conspicuously absent was his son and successor, who has not been seen in public since succeeding his father, who was killed at the onset of the war. Interesting. Calls for killing Donald Trump at the funeral of Iran's supreme leader. New supreme leader Mojtaba Khamenei still absent from public view as his three brothers stand beside father's coffin. Folks, when these ghouls are schlepped from office, when they're finally schlepped out of office and the Iranian people hang them from light poles to exterminate this fascist theocracy, all of that will come down and there will be footnotes in history, much like Saddam Hussein has already been forgotten about by Iraqis. Beside the coffin of the assassinated former Iranian supreme leader, there were calls for the killing of Donald Trump. Of course there were. OPEC and their allies have hiked output as Hormuz traffic starts recovering. The fifth consecutive increase comes as cartel continues to unwind production cuts introduced in recent years. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and its allies agreed to raise oil output again as shipping traffic through the Strait of Hormuz gradually recovers and the Persian Gulf producers restore production. After a virtual meeting today, 7 members of the group, OPEC Plus, said they'll raise production by 188,000 barrels a day in August, making a fifth straight monthly increase as the cartel continues to unwind production cuts introduced in recent years. These countries include Saudi Arabia, along with Russia, Iraq, Kuwait, Algeria, Kazakhstan, and Oman. Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands are preparing for a powerful typhoon. Typhoon Bavi, a tropical cyclone barreling through the Pacific Ocean, was forecast to pass near the U.S. territories tomorrow with a force of Category 5 hurricane. Guam and the Northern Marianas were preparing for Typhoon Bavi. It intensified to the equivalent Category 5 strength as it barreled west on Sunday. It was expected to bring destructive winds and heavy rain to a region that is still recovering from Typhoon Sinlaku back in April. Typhoon Bavi is forecast to pass between Guam and Northern Marianas, an archipelago that's home to about 43,000 people. Look, I see the nonsense going on in Afrikaans. You think I don't read it? Knock it off. I'm going to tell you all to knock it off right now. The Afrikaans bickering. Stop it. Moldova's prime minister has stepped down, triggering government's resignation. Prime Minister of Moldova, Alexandru Munteanu, has stepped down yet on Friday. Well, he announced he's stepping down. He didn't give a reason. He said, "Today I end my term as prime minister. The moment I understand that I can no longer exercise my mandate in accordance with my principles and beliefs, I choose to walk away. I accept the proposal to be prime minister with a lot of responsibility and strong conviction that I contribute to changing things for the better." But he's done now. Next week, I'll listen to the parliamentary groups to appoint a new prime minister. We must have a united, strong team in the government that will fulfill our country's objective. We are obliged to succeed in taking Moldova into the EU and helping the country. Well, good luck going into the EU. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but you can keep trying, buddy. Slovaks will vote this weekend on a referendum on lifelong payments for Prime Minister Fico. Slovaks cast their ballots Saturday in a referendum to decide whether to cancel lifelong benefits payments for populist Prime Minister Fico and other leaders after their terms in the office expire. They're also voting on whether to reopen the office of Special Prosecutor and National Criminal Agency. The referendum follows a petition organized by Democrats, a non-parliamentary pro-Western opposition group, was signed by more than 350,000 citizens in a country of just 5.4 million people. Only one referendum in Slovakia's history, the 2003 vote on the country's European Union membership, was successful. All others have failed due to low turnout. Polls have suggested Saturday's turnout would not reach 50%. The payments were introduced in 2024 following an assassination attempt on Fico, who was shot and gravely wounded after a government meeting, shocking the small country. So now the man who's been wounded serving in office, they want to take away his retirement benefits. Well, Paraguay's goalkeeper threw the ball at Kylian Mbappe after a handshake snub during the FIFA World Cup. I will say this about Mbappe. He is a thug. He's a punk. His conduct during this game against Paraguay was reprehensible. To be fair, the whole Paraguayan team's conduct was poor, but this guy was arrogant, asshat, rude, condescending, and disrespectful, particularly to the goaltender, who stopped his shots 3 times, and then he got one shot through on a penalty as if he's some great achievement. FIFA World Cup round of 16 match between France and Paraguay ended with a heated note as Kylian Mbappe and Orlando Gil got into a heated altercation. The FIFA World Cup round ended The game was filled with strong tackles from Paraguay. Mbappe scored from a penalty shot. By the way, he got a penalty shot. And what I found interesting about this is that Mbappe was going away from the goal. He was kicking it up the field away from the goal when he was tripped, and he got a penalty shot. That's not even, why do you get a penalty shot when you're not even kicking at the goal? That makes no sense whatsoever. Vladimir Putin facing a crisis as fuel shortages are hitting Russia. Moscow may have to import gasoline and ban diesel exports as long lines are forming at petrol stations. Fuel shortages across Russia have triggered a new political challenge for President Putin as relentless Ukrainian drone campaign aimed at the country's oil refiners has brought the war home for most ordinary Russians. Ukraine has targeted Russian area facilities for years, but the quantity and firepower of drones and missiles have risen. That's allowed Kiev to target refineries as far as Tubia, which is 1,200 miles away from Siberia. In Siberia. Spectacular raid broke through thick layers of air defense and destroyed Moscow's main refinery June 18th, turning point of the current crisis. Some 28% of Russia's refining capacity was offline on June 20th. Wow. So the Ukrainians continue to commit acts against human beings, war crimes, targeting civilians and civilian infrastructure. The wife of Spain's prime minister is forbidden to leave the country as corruption probe piles up. Mr. Money is a powerful gentleman, said the 17th century Spanish poet Francisco de Quevedo. Spain is certainly no stranger to corruption, which has claimed plenty of political careers in recent decades. The latest in deepening jeopardy is current Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, who led the country for nearly 8 years and become one of the few European leaders persistently openly criticized Trump over Gaza, Iran, and tariffs. Of course, that's because his family is corrupt, and that's what leftists do. During Sanchez's time in office, Spain has become one of Europe's most dynamic economies despite the fragility of his ruling coalition, which includes Catalan and Basque separatist parties. But now his wife is embroiled in an investigation over corruption. Those chickens are coming home to roost. The conservative candidate in Peru, Keiko Fujimori, has won the presidential runoff. They've certified her now. Conservative politician and daughter of former president Keiko Fujimori on Friday was declared the winner of the presidential runoff. The 51-year-old daughter of disgraced former president was running for presidency for the fourth time. She'll be Peru's 9th president in 10 years as she takes office later this year. Well, congratulations to Keiko Fujimori. She received 9,223,000 votes, while Roberto Sanchez received 9,173,000 votes, a difference of a mere 50,000 votes out of over 18 million cast. That's a close race. Well, America marks its 250... Malcolm, are you still here? Is Malcolm still here? Malcolm, look, dude, I'm running out of tissues. Are you done? I'm out of tissues. Now we're going to talk about America, and I have criticism of America, in case you're still here. Okay, America marks its 250th birthday with storms, sweat, and fire. Independence Day celebrations canceled nationwide. The Brooklyn Bridge briefly caught fire, yet Americans still found countless ways to celebrate. Lightning, record-breaking heat, and wayward pyrotechnics brought a measure of unpredictability today that had been planned for years. It was a fitting tribute for a country that's proved again and again difficult to manage. As the evening's headline event was to start in Washington, the presidential address followed by what organizers billed as the largest pyrotechnics display in the history of the world. The approach of severe storms forced a sudden and chaotic evacuation. Thousands of confused attendees sought shelter nearby Smithsonian Museum's headquarters, the Internal Revenue Service, and a McDonald's. The evacuation order was lifted 2 hours later, bringing the crowds back to wait in security lines that stretched for blocks. President Trump was determined to give a speech on the actual holiday. He began speaking just after 11 p.m. After 2.5 centuries, this American republic still stands tall and strong. We love each other. That showed tonight. You heard it was over, and what happened? You came back. Yep, brilliant stuff. There's a band marching in Greeley, Colorado. There's Newmarket, Iowa. And there's St. Charles, Missouri. And Monticello in Charlottesville, Virginia. 75 people became American citizens during the naturalization ceremony in Monticello. Congratulations to those 75 people who became Americans. President Trump's America's 250th anniversary. With this is the land of liberty. We're celebrating freedom's triumph over tyranny, liberty's conquest over oppression, and the enduring victory of the American spirit. President Donald Trump spoke before an estimated 150,000 people gathered in the National Mall. Oh, wait. I'm sure that the Democrats will say it was just the 5,000 people showed up. You watch. You watch, they'll say 5,000 showed up. 150,000 people on the mall were celebrating freedom over tyranny, liberty's conquest over oppression, and the enduring victory of the American spirit from July 4th, 1776 to July 4th, 2026. Trump said an estimated 375,000 people gathered for the salute before they had the evacuation order. It's a lot of people. Fireworks and Trump's speech cap Independence Day celebrations. People across the United States. That is in Washington, D.C. Look at that. Look at that. That's insane. Wow. Weather delayed speech. That's incredible. Wow. Man, oh man. Something else. Independence Day, fireworks, and Trump speech cap the celebrations. President Trump addressed the nation. Thanked the crowd that returned to celebrate with him. Yep. Now, CNN poo-poos all over it. America's been deeply divided before. This is their July 4th wrap-up. This is what CNN is focused on. Here's why today's divisions are different. Oh, yes. Yes, CNN dividing the country. There you go. Ronald Brownstein. Why don't you move to Canada, buddy? Escalating tensions between the red and blue political coalitions is permeating almost every aspect of American life, particularly under the pile driver pressure of Donald Trump's polarizing and norm-breaking presidency. Party pooper. Anti-American. Let's take a look at some photographs here, folks, from New York. This is pretty impressive. You're going to see that the whole world celebrated with the United States, not just the United States participated in our celebration. Vance participates in International Naval Review. International Naval Review took place. There's the USS Kearsarge in New York City for the 250th. There's a ferry operator heading towards the Kearsarge. There's the back end of the Kearsarge. On deck, outside the Statue of Liberty and Liberty Island, with the new World Trade Center in the distance. On deck of the Kearsarge, and you can see the new World Trade Center back there. Beautiful, beautiful view. Journalist interviewing sailors. It's not just the Kearsarge, folks. Hang around. We're going to get more. This is all the Kearsarge, but it gets more here in a second. That's USS Farragut. You see how big it is by seeing how small the sailors are. Look how big that flag is. That flag is 4 times the height of one sailor. That's amazing. There's J.D. Vance with Captain Rosie Gosinski. Here we go. The Elisa from the United States. That's part of the Tall Ships Parade. Check out these tall ships. This is the cool part here, folks. Again, on the Kearsarge. There's the Blue Angels flying over New York City. The elite U.S. Navy aerial demonstration team. Here's the Navy's C-2A Greyhounds, the International Naval Review, flying over New York City. This is the Ara Libertad, an Argentinian tall ship in New York Harbor for the 250th anniversary. Argentina joining us for our celebration. This is the Patrouille de France. The French sent jets to America to celebrate our 250th anniversary. Thank you, France. Thank you, Argentina. These are F-35 Lightning stealth fighters, stealth strike fighters flying over New York. J.D. Vance's son, cooling him off. Here's the Royal Air Force Red Arrows, their elite aerial demonstration team. The United Kingdom joining us along with Argentina and France. This is the Americo Vespucci, an Italian tall ship from Italy joining America's celebration. These are E-2 Hawkeye intelligence aircraft. This is the Pride of Baltimore, a ship I know well from the city of Baltimore, flying the Maryland flag for New York City on the 4th. McDonnell Douglas T-45 Gossick flight over the city. This is the Juan Bautista Cambicio of the Dominican Republic, a tall ship which joined us to celebrate our 250 years. B-2 stealth bomber and a B-1 Lancer. Boy, the B-2 stealth bomber makes the B-1 look really tiny, and it's a huge aircraft. And J.D. Vance speaking. This is the Mircea of Romania. Romania also joining the United States for our 250th anniversary celebration. Pretty cool stuff. And this one is the Ark Gloria of Colombia, a tall ship joining us. Look at that big Colombian flag. Look at all those sailors up on those arms at the top. That's incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, I take my hat off and salute to all the countries who participated in the celebration with us, those who also celebrated in France with us, our 250th anniversary. France was an ally of ours and helped us achieve our independence, as did Spain. Thank you for your participation in our American Revolution. Spain came late, but they did make a small contribution. And thank you to all the countries who participated in celebrating this great day for America. Unfortunately, is Malcolm still here? I'm sorry, my tissues are all gone. Is Malcolm still here? Now's the part where we criticize America. Are you ready, Malcolm? We'll criticize America now. I know that you couldn't wait this long. It took a whole 51 minutes before I criticized America, but we're here. We're here now. The FBI's false flag operation, white supremacy protesters descend on Washington for the 4th of July. White supremacist group known as the Patriotic Front marched in D.C. on Independence Day chanting, "Reclaim America." Donning white face coverings, hats, and glasses, the incognito protesters gathered outside Union Station before heading to Eastern Market, 2 miles southeast of the Capitol. Many carried American flags. Some of them were upside down or Confederate flags, plus shields and drums. They wore almost head-to-toe coverings, including khaki pants and long-sleeve Navy shirts. The white supremacist group reportedly was formed in 2017 following the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. Founded by Thomas Rousseau, the organization splintered off from the neo-Nazi group Vanguard America. Well, they have a right to protest, but none of us take them seriously. None of us take them seriously. So, Malcolm, did you catch that criticism of America and racist? Yes, I hope you're paying attention. Well, a man born in Tibet committed self-immolation. Horrible. A Tibet-born New York resident who has been critical of Beijing's rule over his homeland died Thursday after appearing to set himself on fire outside the UN headquarters. The self-immolation captured by video in what activists said was a live stream appeared to be the first known incident in the U.S. of a form of protest against China's control of Tibet that monks, nuns, and lay people have performed over 168 times in China, Nepal, and India. 52-year-old New York resident Lobsang Palden was known as Lobgag Gragzan and was leading member of the local activist community. Wow. Terrible. A top general fired by the Trump administration says that politics shouldn't play a role. Of course, his op-ed is political, so isn't the irony there? Charles Q. Brown, former U.S. top general, whom Secretary Pete Hegseth fired last year, criticized the use of the military for political missions in an op-ed published Friday, pointing to the Trump administration's deployment of troops to clamp down on crime in major cities. When presidents use the armed forces for more politically contentious missions, such as addressing domestic crime in cities, the work of the military becomes more fraught, said the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in Foreign Affairs. So, in criticizing the administration for using the military in a political fashion, General Brown is acting in a political fashion as a political actor. It's something very dangerous for retired generals to get involved in. Also, it is highly appropriate for the U.S. military to be used for fighting crime and domestic dissent. We take an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The District of Columbia was failing to provide security for the citizens of the District of Columbia. The U.S. government responded, and in other cities, where leftists have been destroying these cities and criminals have been running rampage, and now that's no longer happening. He said, you must fix the underlying problems. Really? How do we fix Detroit when Democrats are in charge of it? How do we fix Chicago when Democrats are in charge of it? Or Atlanta, or New York when a socialist is in charge? Or Los Angeles when an incompetent twit, Karen Bass, is in charge? Or Seattle when a raving lunatic is in charge? We can't fix these places because the voters vote these retards into office. The federal government has supremacy. And when the local government fails, the federal government has a right to intervene. I prefer they don't, but they have a right. The U.S. government, Malcolm, are you still here? Malcolm, are you still here? I'm criticizing the U.S. again, okay? Are you ready for this, Malcolm? Damn it, my tissue box is empty now. I'm out of facial tissues. They're all gone. Just the one left here in the box. Malcolm used them all. So, I'm here to criticize America again. Are you listening, Malcolm? Okay, thank you. Okay. U.S. government keeps quiet as countless travelers suddenly denied entry over unexplained ESTA glitch. This is not acceptable. Not acceptable. The electronic system for travel authorization is a type of electronic permission to visit the United States required for international travelers from visa-exempt countries on the U.S. visa waiver program list. It's been a necessity for thousands of fans from around the world descending on the U.S. for the World Cup. Many are now claiming online that their approval status has been revoked suddenly without explanation, leaving them in a tough situation. As of June 30th, the Customs and Border Protection, which oversees that program, has not issued a statement on why this issue is occurring. Many people online believe it's an error. This comes on the heels of several Scotland fans saying their once approved applications were rejected in early June, right before they were due to travel. One World Cup traveler told The Travel, that's a magazine, that they're visiting U.S. from Australia, took it to Reddit on June 30th, explaining that theirs was revoked at the last minute. The travel explained that the authorization was approved, but 12 hours before the scheduled flight, it was changed, authorization canceled. Traveler also noted they applied for it on June 23rd, and their sister, whose status has remained unchanged, applied a few days later. Another person identified as from Denmark said she experienced the same issue and also applied on June 23rd. Another traveler on Reddit asked whether anyone else was applied on June 23rd, 24th. They blamed the issue on a glitch or error, along with several others on Reddit. But the issues aren't limited to those who haven't yet traveled to the U.S. One World Cup fan who identifies as New Zealand took to Reddit on June 30th to share that her authorization was revoked while she was at the airport. The traveler said she showed airport security a return ticket from New York to Australia, and 2 hours later, her ticket was revoked. Fortunately, for all these travelers have since updated their posts stating their applications have been approved. Some had to apply for a second time, however. Well, this is not acceptable, ladies and gentlemen. The U.S. government cannot pull this crap. This is not acceptable. Not acceptable. Nope, needs to be fixed. This cannot be allowed to happen. Gunman opens fire. Oh, Malcolm, are you listening? Malcolm, okay, is Malcolm still here? I'm sorry. I'm just, once again, another negative story about America. Are you ready? I'm sorry, folks, but, we report everything. We don't just selectively pick, the good stories, the ones that make America look good, the ones that make South Africa look good. No, unfortunately, we report the news. We report the news. And I analyze the news and stories that will be interesting to my audience. And this one will be interesting. A gunman opens fire at a July 4th barbecue in Brooklyn, New York. It wasn't a brawl, it was a barbecue. 8 wounded, including 4 children. At least 8 people, including 4 children, were shot during a 4th of July barbecue on Coney Island. As the family celebrated in the courtyard of a home, an unknown man dressed in all black and wearing a black ski mask approached the fence line and fired multiple rounds into the courtyard before fleeing. Police responding to the call at 10:35 p.m. found 8 people with gunshot wounds, 4 boys ages 6, 7, 12, and 14, 2 women ages 21, 25, and 2 men ages 33 and 37. The 21-year-old woman and the 33-year-old man were both shot in the chest. The 6-year-old was shot in the abdomen. The other 3 boys were shot in the leg or thigh. 21-year-old woman is in critical condition while the 7 other victims are stable. Authorities have not released the names or the ethnicity of the victims. A Tech-9-style firearm with an extended magazine was recovered at the scene along with 10 discharged shell casings. 10 rounds he fired and 8 people he hit. Elsewhere in Brooklyn, New York, police department detective was shot just after 4 a.m. when he confronted an armed 18-year-old man in Crown Heights. The detective was struck in the back of his ballistic vest and was not seriously injured. He'd been working a 12-hour shift protecting New Yorkers on the 4th of July. A second officer suffered contusions to face and shoulder, according to the commissioner. The suspect was tasered, disarmed, and taken into custody. Wow. So bad news there. Bad news. The guy fired 10 rounds and he hit 8 people. How in the hell? I mean, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, electric vehicle batteries are surprising people, ladies and gentlemen. The Wall Street Journal reports are defying expectations. Industry experts think newfound technology of battery durability is a game changer for consumer confidence in electric vehicles. Well, how about you increase the reliability to 1,000 miles and the charge time to less than 5 minutes, and then you'll get my confidence. Richard Simons recently took his 5-year-old Tesla on a 260-mile road trip across England without having to stop for a charge. Well, England is tiny. You can't do that in America. A new electric vehicle could make the trip no problem, but Simon's car, which he has affectionately nicknamed Miles, has logged 247,000 miles and is still up for frequent long-distance drives. The owner of a UK-based used car sales company specialized in EVs has found the batteries that power these cars continue to perform well even after several 100,000 miles. This has come as a welcome surprise to him. After 5 years on the road, the average EV will still be able to drive up to 95% of its original range, according to Recurrent, a data science company that provides battery monitoring for EVs, better than many in the auto industry expected. Consumers in the mass market have yet to develop trust in EVs. Yeah, because they're expensive and they fail. Potential new car buyers have fear having to pay for a battery replacement. It's the number one reason they chose to steer clear of them. Yep. When they hit the market, buyers' concerns are well-founded. Roughly 1 in 12 EVs built from 2011 to 2016 have had to have battery replacements. But new data shows that more modern EVs are doing better. Among EVs built from 2022 onwards, 0.3% had battery replacements. That's pretty good. As battery technology advances, EVs have avoided problems like the ones that plagued the original Nissan Leaf when it hit the market in 2010. Those cars lacked the battery cooling technology that's in newer EVs, and they made headlines for wearing down quickly. But buyer perception hasn't quite caught up. Yeah, you won't catch up from me either. An out-of-warranty battery replacement costs anywhere from $5,000 to $16,000 depending on the manufacturer. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is a lot of money to replace a battery. Well, folks, that's the news. And now I'm going to talk about Oliver Wolcott, my ancestor, whom I mentioned at the outset of this broadcast. And I said, if you hang around, we're going to talk about that. And you'll see some famous people that I'm related to. So are you ready for that? We're going to talk about that. So who was Oliver Wolcott? Well, to me, he was my fourth cousin 8 times removed from the Brewster line. Elizabeth Brewster married Thomas Emerson. And that's how you get to me. Oliver Wolcott, born November 20, 1726, died December 1st, 1797, was an American founding father and politician. He was a signer of the United States Declaration of Independence and the Articles of Confederation and was a representative of Connecticut and the 19th governor of Connecticut. Wolcott was a major general for the Connecticut militia during the Revolutionary War, serving under George Washington. And he is my cousin. Died at the age of 71. He was interred in East Cemetery. Oliver Wolcott was born November 20th, 1726 in Windsor, Connecticut, the 14th of 15 children of Roger and Sarah Drake. Roger Wolcott and Sarah Drake. As he grew into manhood, he was described as tall, erect, dark complexion, dignified, a man of integrity and deep Puritan faith. The family tree is impressive both in the Old World and in the New. The earliest established member of the Wolcott line in England was William Wolcott, who was born in 1463 during the War of the Roses and died in 1502. There's evidence that this line of the Wolcott family may date back even further, as far back as the knight Sir John Wolcott in 1382. His great-grandfather was Henry Wolcott, an English gentleman of the parish Layford, St. Lawrence, Somersetshire, who was born 1578 in Somerset. Described as a resolute Puritan, a stout-hearted and God-fearing man. There you go. He and his wife, Elizabeth Sanders, and 3 children emigrated on the ship Mary and John. The ship left Plymouth in 1630 and arrived in Massachusetts on May 31st, 1630. Left behind 2 daughters, Anna and Mary, and their youngest son, Simon, who would become Oliver's grandfather. Yep. Quite an amazing story there. Oliver Wolcott, my ancestor. Pretty wild, huh? Pretty wild. I am related to a signer of the Declaration of Independence. Now, where did all those other ones go? Hang on a second. Is it here? All right, here you go. So here's who you're related to. Okay, you ready for this? You guys ready for this? These are people I'm related to. John Adams, my 4th cousin, 8 times removed. Lewis Morris, New York landowner, 5th cousin, 8 times removed. William Floyd, Benjamin Harrison. His son became president of the United States. Charles Carroll of Carrollton, prominent Maryland landowner. George Clymer, Philadelphia merchant who signed the Declaration of Independence. Another one of my cousins. Joshua Bartlett. He became the governor of New Hampshire. Samuel Chase, outspoken lawyer who later served on the U.S. Supreme Court. My 6th cousin. Abraham Lincoln, my 7th cousin, 4 times removed. Emily Dickinson, American poet, my 7th cousin, 5 times removed. Francis Lightfoot Lee, Virginia planter, my 7th cousin, 7 times removed. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, my 7th cousin, 4 times removed. Helen Keller, my 7th cousin, 4 times removed. John Hancock, also signed the Declaration, my 7th cousin, 7 times removed. Richard Henry Lee, my 7th cousin, 7 times removed. Wilbur Wright, of the Wright brothers, my 7th cousin, 3 times removed. Bert Patenaude scored the first hat trick in World Cup history for soccer, my 8th cousin, 3 times removed. George Washington, The founder of our country, my 8th cousin, 6 times removed. Lucille Ball, my 8th cousin, twice removed. Thomas Jefferson, my 8th cousin, 6 times removed. Walt Disney, my 8th cousin, 3 times removed. Charles Dickens, my 8th cousin, 6 times removed. Winston Churchill, my 8th cousin, 3 times removed. John Wayne, my 9th cousin, twice removed. Shirley Temple, my 9th cousin, twice removed. Susan B. Anthony, my 9th cousin, twice removed. Grace Kelly, my 10th cousin, 4 times removed. Adam West, my 12th cousin, not removed. Fred Rogers, my 12th cousin, not removed. Ginger Rogers, once removed. Queen Elizabeth, my 12th cousin, once removed. Betty White, my 13th cousin, once removed. Ronald Reagan, my 13th cousin, once removed. Booker T. Washington, the black fellow in my background, 13th cousin, once removed. Margaret Thatcher, Bruce McLaren, Ronald Reagan, and Yael Soares. He's 14th, though. These are all people that I'm related to. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool, huh? It didn't include the Bushes. I'm also related to the Bushes. Yep. Your nephew is Reuben Van Heerden, the rugby player. The original Batman, Adam West. Removed has to do with lineage going back. So let me explain that. I've done that before. I've got something here that explains it because it's too hard for me to explain. In genealogy, remove indicates that 2 cousins belong to different generations. So that's how you go back. A cousin 0 times removed is in my same generation. So if it's 8 times removed, that's 8 generations back. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So the number, the once or twice or 3 or 4 times removed, shows you how closely you're related to that person. So you typically map out your lineage and compare it to another ancestor. So once removed is 1 generation before you. My first cousin once removed. So that's close. Yep. So the number is how closely related. So for instance, first cousins share grandparents. So my cousin, who's a first cousin, we have the same grandparents. Second, we share great-great-grandparents. You got that? The removed is how many generations. Okay. So for instance, my first cousin once removed, this is either the child of your first cousin or the first cousin of your parent. Second cousin twice removed. This happens when you share great-grandparents with someone, but you're separated by 2 generations. Second cousin twice removed. Does that make sense? I hope that clarifies it for people. I'm my own grandfather. Hey, yes, Garrett, I can attest. You've been removed from many pubs. Famous blood flowing through your veins, strong leaders well. Yes, Pearl, I sure do. And Booker T. Washington, ancestor. I'm not descended from his line. We're just cousins. So in other words, some whitey mixed with the folks that were in his lineage, the Washington line. And before that, going up, we shared a common ancestor. And then it came across. I went down. He came across. He went down this way. Cousins. All right. What do you guys think? That is pretty cool. Hey, Hetien? There may be some Freemasons in there, but I'm not one. Chris been removed 5 times from You guys can be so funny at times. You kill me. You guys kill me sometimes. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Only got 95 likes. We can do better than that. Cool Bean says, I know what you're talking about. Okay. Just joking. Shirley Temple, I still have my mom, Shirley Temple doll. She got as a child. Wow, that's pretty cool. All from Adam and Eve, Noah and his family. We're all from family. We're brothers and sisters. Yeah, and Yassine said generation gaps. Yep. So 14 times removed would be somebody very far in the distant past. You figure an average generation is 20 years, 10, 200, and 14, 280. So somebody about 300 years ago would be 14 times removed. Was threatened by a mental patient with a knife at the bank. 6 police guns arrested him, no injuries. Well, wow, Lightran, that's crazy. Please confirm where I can send you a song especially for you. The email address is below. You're welcome for the news, guys. Thank you for that. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Yeah, Yassine said we had 283 likes. We're past that now, but we're still pushing. Hitting the subject while Trump plays multi-level chess. We all need to be ready for any glitch. Thank you. You're right, Mike. Hey, Mike, how's it going? It's been a while. I've seen you, man. How you doing? China's declared Islamic ideology mental disorder. Wow, that's interesting. He thinks Malcolm is gone and won't be returning, says Lorraine. Probably. No one believes Patriot Front is organic. After seeing the Southern Poverty Law Center paying Klan members and neo-Nazis, people just don't. Exactly. I never believed it. I mean, they just magically show up and they're all, you know, it's the whole thing, the uniforms, the whole thing just it can't be organic. It's all right. Cool. Okay, if there is a celebration here like that, there would be definitely a fraud after 8 months, the amount of money budgeted compared to how much was used. Probably, Denver. That's a good point. South Africa, that was a joke. The 4th of July celebration of Fort Jackson was the most amazing day and night I've ever experienced. Oh, I didn't see what Napoleon. I didn't know what you're talking about. It was so amazing. Never saw people so proud of their country, their flag, and the military. It was so emotional. Hey, Phoenix. South Africa wouldn't be able to get rubber duck over the piss paint. Congratulations on surviving, turned 50 years of freedom. I hope the United States has another 50 years. Hope so too. Yesterday I was asked what makes America. My answer, it's an idea where people have lived freedom to know no matter the government, the people always come first. Yep. And being an American is an idea. It's a mantra. It's a concept. It's not ethnicity. Normal Boar. Okay. Mama Joy is representing the 4th of July celebration. No, they didn't send her as a representative. Smoke-a-Cola. Welcome to you. You were at Fort Jackson last night. Amazing experience. Almost amazing as winning World Cup 4 times. Gotcha, Napoleon. And Loretta says, Americans sure know how to celebrate the 4th. It sure is an amazing experience to be part of. I saw the Blue Angels. Oh, yeah. Loretta, yeah. 1996. I haven't seen the Blue Angels since I was a kid. Jackson was insane last night. Never seen so many fireworks in my life. Yeah. Swine flu is nothing you should worry about. Okay. It was a scorcher and our fireworks canceled due to severe weather. Oh, okay, Alan. Hopefully it'll kick off tonight. Okay. Yeah. Can't use all caps. It's my, hey, Joy. I didn't see the Joy Thron, Chris Ehlers. And who is Babach? What is that? That's a suspect username. But you don't seem to have done anything wrong, so okay. Just know my ancestors were royal gardeners in Sweden, says Sigi. Do you know the history of the Maryland 400? Epic story. Which Maryland 400? Anyway, so that's where we're at today on the 5th of July. I want to thank you all for tuning in. We're going to have a FT Cafe Clutch going to talk about denial letters coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're going to be directed from here. I'm going to direct you elsewhere when I'm done. I'm not quite there yet, but let me take care of that. We are stagnating on subscribers. So if you know anybody who wants to become a subscriber, please ask them to become a subscriber. When you stagnate for 3 or 4 days, you start to get a little bit concerned. So I'm a little bit concerned that we're stagnating. That's never a good thing. So Ronaldo is on at 1:15. So I haven't eaten to his time. So I'm going to send you guys over there in just a moment. And we'll be back for the FT Cafe Clutch. That's at 2 p.m. So about 50 minutes from now, I'll be back. Tanya, is that you? Who is Tanya? Who are you talking to, man? Miranda made some coffee. What site you used? For what? Strong boy. What site for what? You got to be, I know what you're talking about there. Prediction booking. South Africa picks wins against Scotland. Yep. Oh, you're talking about the regiment that was in the Battle of New York City, which Washington lost badly. Yeah, they protect the retreat. A lot of them died as a consequence. That's what you're talking about. That's why I asked which one you're talking about. Yeah. No, George Washington lost the Battle of New York. He was badly mauled by the Brits. Yep. Yeah, badly mauled. It almost ended right there for the American Revolution. Went to Sioux Falls on the 4th of July, and oh my word, it was amazing. It was in tears. The national anthem was so thankful. Hey, Anita, welcome to you. Strongboy's asking what side I use. What is he talking about? It's for what? Thank you, West Coast. So I've my DNA is available to Family Heritage, to Ancestry.com, to 1, 2, and 3, and me, and to one in the UK. So 4 different companies have my DNA sample. So that one was from Family Search. Family Search is the Mormons, the ancestry site that they have. That's what I'm. So that was from Family Search. Yep. Let me click on that so you can see that very quickly. So Family Search is free. Ancestry.com costs money. Family Search was started by the Mormon Church a long time ago. Yeah, and I've been out to the archives in Salt Lake City when I was out there to visit Courtney McBride, when I went out to see the Hudson-Beggs and others up there in Twin Falls, Idaho. So there you go. Ian, yeah, I will go back to Florida, but not soon. It won't be probably till the fall, maybe during hurricane season. Yep. So yeah, that's from Family Search. So it says you can check out your 250 years. Let me see what this says. Discover your family's place in American history. Our family is contributed to every American story. Take the America 250 challenge. Honor one of your American heroes. Get help. Okay, help others. Yeah. No, so they're just promoting Family Search. See, you see at the bottom here. It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. If you look in the bottom corner of this, you'll see right there, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's who runs this. Family Search, and it'll take you to the Mormon Church. How believing changed their lives. There's this guy with a rugby ball. Will. Who's Will? He's got a rugby ball there. It takes a lot of hard work to excel at rugby, but for Will, personal strength wasn't everything. The Book of Mormon teaches him how to turn his personal weakness into strength. So, he's a rugby player. I don't know him. Anyway, yeah, that's Family Search. Okay, so that's the one. Doing a DNA heritage to check where I come from. Family Heritage is another one. I have that. This is Family Search, okay? No, they're not polygamous, Unrest. That was banned over a century ago. Mormons don't speak German and Yiddish. They speak English. There may be some German Mormons and Jewish, former Jews, but yeah. Chris says some smelly stuff hit the fan. What are you talking about, Chris? That's not very helpful. What are you talking about? We're talking about genealogy. What are you talking about? Some smelly stuff hit the fan. What are you talking about? I'm looking to see. Guess it matters then which side of the fan you're on. Okay, it does. Denver, you probably have very interesting history. Ouch, gosh, my finger just smashed it. That's hurt. Hear about the earthquake on the coast of Russia? No, I haven't seen that. Did it just happen? WhatsApp, okay. Okay, why are you not showing up here? Oh, come on. Okay, I mean, so you're sending me stuff that makes no sense. Okay, there's a bunch of voice messages. I can't listen to them because they'll expose what people said. Did I have a good day celebrating 250? No, I actually worked. I worked on the 4th of July. I went to the VFW and I spent 3 hours there selling bingo, bar bingo, fetching food from the kitchen, trying to get the room cooled down because the aircon was struggling with 106-degree temperature. And we put the fans on in the dining room, which where the lights were out, and it was cool air there, so it was blowing in. We finally fixed that. I cleaned up the bar. I cleaned up tickets. I helped the bartender at hand. I didn't touch any money. I did a 50-50. When I left, I had it up to $202, which is pretty good for just a few hours in the afternoon. All right. Some people live in the Matrix. They do. Anyway. 26 June, my neighbor of the next farm was viciously attacked with a panga. Nothing in mainstream media. Cobus, yeah, I haven't seen that story. I don't even know where that's at. Hey, Mara, what's going on? Yeah, Bia. So I worked. So in the morning, I did a news broadcast, and people tuned up. How many people showed up for that? I'm curious. I don't know how many people showed up for that. So we did a news broadcast on the 4th. Let me see my lives. On the 4th of July. We had 2,000 people show up, so not great, but good. Good turnout. Not great, but we've had 7,000 a few days before that. So 2,000 showed up on 4th of July. Then we did a Night Owls the night before, which had about 1,700 people. But I called Obrigado Capo Verde, so not a lot of people tuned in, but it wound up being about the 4th of July. So yesterday I did the morning news, then I did the Springboks game. We had 22,000 plus people show up for the Springboks game. I appreciate that. We peaked at 750 people viewing. That's more like it usually is for my Springboks streams, which that wasn't the case last time they played. So after that, I went to the VFW and I spent 3 hours there. I came back and I had to shower. I was nasty. I actually started watching Cheers again last night from the first season, and I haven't seen that in years. It was pretty good. It's pretty good. What does it mean to be an American? I just understand how it's an idea. I was curious. Well, okay, so Werner, in order to be a German, you have to be German. You have to have German ethnicity. Speak German, be a Christian. Yeah, now some people argue with me they don't have to be Christian to be a German, but no, you have to be Christian to be a German for the most part. But you have to be German ethnicity, German blood flowing through, whether it's Bavarian or Thüringen or Sachsen or Niedersachsen or Pommern, Schlesien. Those are Germans. Those are ethnic Germans. That's German. Being a German national just means you have a German passport. You're a citizen of that country. Doesn't mean you're German. Being an American means you're an American. You've accepted an idea about freedom and equality and our nation. By the way, does anybody notice I have a bison behind me there? Anybody notice that? See the bison back there? There he is. Right there. You got Bernie the bison back there. So, because it's the 4th of July time frame. So that's what being an American is. Being Danish, I can't become Danish. I have Danish ancestry that goes back over 1,000 years, but I can't become Danish. I could become a Danish citizen, a Danish national. I could become a Canadian. That's also supposedly an idea. Arguably the same thing in Australian, but I cannot become a German. I cannot become a Maori. I cannot become a Thai. I cannot become a Laotian, a Hmong, Mandarin. I can't be that. I can be citizen of those countries if I renounce my citizenship here, which I would never do. But you can become an American by accepting our norms, our ideas, and our values. That's the difference. That's the difference. What is a South African? Well, a South African is a collection of people of different ethnicities who are born in South Africa. And I say that because you can't just say an Ndebele is South African or a Tswana is South African, because they're Tswana in Botswana. They're Ndebele in Zimbabwe. They're not South African. South Africans are people whose heritage goes back to when the country was formed, from a dozen different ethnic groups and lots of sub-Khoi and San groups. That's who South African is. It's not really an idea. In 200 years, you can claim it's an idea if you want, but you can't claim it now. Miranda says you always help. I try to help. Sigi wants to know why everyone's greeting her twice today. No, white South Africans are South African too. Yep. Do you show the bison up close? Sure. Come on, Bernie. There you go. There's Bernie the bison. So, interesting story about bison. The bison were nearly wiped out 100 years ago. Over 100 years ago, 140 years ago, 150 years ago. They were nearly wiped out. And a taxidermist for the Smithsonian Institute was sent out to get bison to stuff to put into the Smithsonian on display. Now, that display is no longer there. It's actually up in Montana, I think. But that display, he went out and he hunted the bison. The Army went out with him to hunt them. And he had to go out a couple times. The first time he went out and their winter coat was peeling off, so it wasn't a good time in the spring. So he realized they had to come back in the fall when their coat had grown back. So he came back in the fall and he hunted them, and they shot bison and they used the display. They found a calf that was on its own wandering around, and he adopted the calf, called it Sandy, and took the calf back to D.C. and put on display. Unfortunately, it died, and the calf and the popularity of the display led him to become a conservationist. And even though he went back and shot the bison, who are today still stuffed, by the still ones he stuffed, they went up going all over the country at one point, but they've been collected again and put in a Montana museum there. He was dismayed walking through the plains, the northern plains, and seeing the thousands of dead skulls and carcasses of buffalo who were slaughtered indiscriminately by hunters and by settlers who just killed 30 million or 50 million bison to starve the Indians and to clear the plains to grow crops. And so by the time that action was taken, he developed a friendship with a gentleman named Teddy Roosevelt, who came and introduced himself. And Roosevelt and Hornaday is his name. They began the effort to conserve the bison. There was a small group of them in a remote valley in Texas that were alive, and there was a herd in Yellowstone that was still alive, wild bison. And there were a few places in America where people had bison on their farms. And so they began saving the bison. But the bison today, even though they were down to as little as 200 or 300 bison left, in fact, General Sheridan, who was a Civil War general from Ohio and an Indian hunter and wiped out Indian tribes and helped wipe out bison, he took a cavalry unit into Yellowstone National Park, I think in 1886 or something like that. You can check the date. But he took them into Yellowstone National Park to protect it because they went up there and they found bison indiscriminately slaughtered by poachers. We had the same problem you have in South Africa with rhinos. The poachers were nearly wiping out our bison. And so they found 23 surviving wild bison in Yellowstone, and the Army protected them, and they reproduced. And today, the bison herd in Yellowstone is 1,500. It would get larger, except there's not enough space for them. So every year they do a roundup of the bison, and then they take the bison who are excess of 1,500. They pick select ones, and then they ship around the country. And now the effort is to ship them to Indian reservations in the high plains and places like that, where there's space for them, where it's not large agricultural areas, so the bison can roam the prairies again. So yeah, people eat bison. The meat is very tasty. They've also managed, if I understand it, to mix, I don't know if they mix the meat or they crossbreed them with cattle, some breeds of cattle, and you have beefalo, it's called. Yeah, but people eat bison, yeah. Yeah, well, buffalo is a bison. It's just a colloquial name for it. Yep. Bison are huge. They're there. I've been next to bison. You go to Yellowstone, they walk right on the road, right in front of you, and you don't mess with them because they'll crash your car if you piss them off. Now you stay away from them. Yeah, so bison, let me see how many bison are left. Now, Ted Turner did a big thing to save. How many bison remain? How many wild and farmed bison remain in the United States? They used to have bison in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, we have bison all the way over here, believe it or not. Today, 500,000 bison live across the United States, but only about 11% are wild, free roaming, so about 30,000. But 30,000, there were just 200 or 300 a century and a half ago. Now we're up to 500,000. Truly wild conservation herds. These are bison in national parks and preserves such as the famous unfenced herd in Yellowstone. They say it's 5,000. I thought it was 1,500. Maybe I'm mistaken. It's 5,000. Other notable conservation herds, the Department of Interior and the tribal nations. Commercial farm bison, there's about 470,000. The vast majority of bison reside on roughly 6,400 private commercial ranches where they're primarily raised for meat, hides, and other byproducts. Ranches ranged from small family farms to massive operations like Ted Turner's. Of course, he's dead now. Ted Turner Ranches alone manages 45,000 head of bison. Yeah. So there you go. 500,000 from almost nothing left. They're amazing creatures. Amazing creatures. Yep. So the Smithsonian and Hornaday, they started the National Zoo. He's the guy who started. Are you serious? You never heard of the bison? Well, here's a plains bison. Let me show you a picture of that. Just a second here. So here's a plains bison. There you go. There used to be 50 million of them roaming the Great Plains in the 1800s. Oh, they're incredible creatures. Apparently it tastes pretty good. I've never had bison, but lots of people eat it. Yeah, here's a wood bison, not the same species. Look at that big horn. Well, they thunder across a prairie when there are tens of thousands and millions of them. Here's an adult male and a female in Yellowstone. They all have horns, but you can see the male is demonstrably bigger. Bigger head, bigger hump. And there was a quaking aspen there. So here's the range of the 2 American bison species. Look, come up, here you go. Well, that map doesn't really help me. Oh, the wood bison and the plains bison. Okay, there we go. So this is where they range. In Alaska, I didn't even know that. Look at that. Here they are in Canada. And then there's some there in Canada. That's the wood bison, and then it's the plains bison. So here they are in the U.S. in Yellowstone, and below Yellowstone, and down here in Utah. That's the Grand Canyon. I don't know why they're listing the Grand Canyon. I've never seen the Grand Canyon. But that's the bison. Yep. So this is photos by Edward Muybridge, 1887. This is a bison galloping. It's from 1887. Yeah, they are heavy. Crossbreeding with cattle. During the population bottleneck after the Great Slaughter of American bison in the 19th century, the number of bison remaining in North America declined as low as 541. I said 300, 541. During that period, a handful of ranchers gathered remnants of the existing herds to save the species. These ranchers bred some of the bison with cattle in an effort to produce cattle or beefalo. Accidental crossings were also known to occur. Generally, male domestic bulls were crossed with bison cows, producing offspring which only the females were fertile. The crossbred animals did not demonstrate any form of hybrid vigor, so the practice was abandoned. The proportion of cattle DNA that's been measured in introgressed individual bison today is typically quite low, ranging from 0.56 to 1.8. Many claim beefalo, even those regarded as pedigree, have no detectable bison ancestry. In the United States, many ranchers are now using DNA testing to cull the residual cattle genetics from their bison herds. Population estimates in 2010 range from 400,000 to 500,000, approximately 20,000 in 62 conservation herds. Well, now it's 30,000. Yep. Here's a bison herd in Montana. See a calf there in the front. The American bison. They use their big heads to clear the snow out like plows. They do this. So here, let me show you. I'll show you. Here's a video of bison clearing the snow in Yellowstone. This is so they can eat in the wintertime because the snow gets, meters deep, and they do their heads, and they're protected by their fur. What's going on here? Why is that? I don't want that. I want to show it. See how he's using his head to clear the snow away so he can eat the grass? Hey, look at him using his head to clear the snow away. It's pretty cool, huh? That's pretty cool. Anyway, here's a calf. The calves are adorable. The calves are absolutely adorable. And they already have little horns when they come out. Look at that. That's a bull. Calves are adorable. He's got muddy hooves, though. He must have been walking in the mud. Yeah, bison. Now, here's a bison standing its ground. The wolves in Yellowstone take out about 1 in 10 bison die in Yellowstone every winter. Yep. Winter kills are called because they just can't get enough find forage, or they get weak and then they die. So here's a pack of wolves in Yellowstone, and the bison standing his ground against them. Yeah, hunting is a big thing in America. Absolutely. Legal hunting. So here's something that you shouldn't do. This is Yellowstone. You shouldn't get out of your car and walk around like these idiots are doing, taking pictures of bison. That's Yellowstone. But I see their license plate's California, which means to me they're probably not very bright. Also, with that gut on that guy, he's not running anywhere. Those bison will run you down. Yeah, tourists approach dangerously close to wild herd of bison. That's just stupid. They tell you not to do that. I've never gotten out of my car around bison. Not going to mess with that. Nope. Yep. So this is what Hornaday, a map he made, showing the range of the bison. This is the guy who helped save the bison. So he called this extermination. You can see that all the way over in Pennsylvania, that's where they were located. So here you go, 1795. In 1795, when my ancestors were here, they reached all the way to Harrisburg. Bison were located only about 15 kilometers east of me. That's how close they came to here. They were all over Ohio, all over West Virginia, most of Virginia, all the way into the Carolinas. That's how far they were. And they were chased back and wiped out. Wow. Ain't that something? It's an incredible animal. It's incredible. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here, folks. I got to get ready for the stream. Sorry, I didn't realize we went that long. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it. Thanks for being with us. You'll be taking Ronaldo for what's left of his program. I'm sorry we took so long, but we got into the bison story, so got distracted there. And next thing I know, 20 minutes went away. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you for the Ref G program. Bye.